Okay, so this is ARV training number 4. So this is where we're really going to get into determining ARVs, which is probably the one that takes the most time to grasp. So, but we're going to jump into that. But before we do that, there's one thing I didn't really talk about a lot when cleaning up this database or all these properties that you've downloaded into this offer template. Um, some of the other verbiage that you don't really want to mess with is this developers or let me see. Yeah, I mean, I thought I had another one here, but um, if it says something like this is a scrape or this is for developers or for commercial use or something like that, delete that as well because I don't really have the clientele base that deals with that kind of stuff. They're out there and I just haven't had time to go find them. And for right now, we don't need to. But maybe later we'll get into nailing down properties that are commercial or scrapes or whatever. And there's good money in that. I just, for right now, we're not going to mess with it. I don't mess with it. I don't have the clientele for it yet. So when you see that, just delete that because we're not going to be interested in anything that's a scrape. That pop tops, I'm not really into. I don't have a lot of guys that are into that kind of stuff, which means that they, like in close to downtown, there are certain properties where it makes sense to scrape the roof off and build it up. And those are called pop tops. And we're not interested in those either. I don't really, like I said, well, I mean, I am, but I just don't have the clientele that are to sell those to. So we're mostly just looking for rundown houses that need to be fixed up. We've got a huge, it's the biggest market out there of clientele. That's where most fix and flip investors get started, and so that's the market that we're after. It's the biggest market, and it's profitable. So we're just going to chase that. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead. This is why you want two screens because I'm going to go ahead and move this over to this other screen, and I'm going to start pulling in. I'm going to show you how to work this MLS. So, again, we want to go into the matrix. And so I'm going to pull this over so you see what I'm doing. So here's the spreadsheet. Let's go ahead and move over to the beginning. This is where we're going to be working for pretty much here on out. So it's pulled over all the data that I'm really going to be looking at when determining ARV. So I'm going to move this over, but just so you know, the first one I'm going to look at is this Stewart Street, which I can already tell it looks like it's an attached property. And let's just read that real fast because perfect investment property. It looks like it's attached. It's also for sale, bought in conjunction with this house. We'll take a look at it. So I don't normally deal with, I'm looking for fix and flips. I'm not looking for rental properties or attached buildings. So like duplexes or fourplexes, stuff like that. We're not really going to chase those right now. So if you run across that, you can just delete those. But I suspect that's what this is, but we're going to take a look here real quick. So going back to this, so we're going to be looking at the address right here, and we're going to be inputting that here. So we're going to go to search, residential, general. I'm going to put in the street address, which again, that's under address 372, pulled up 2. You don't need to put in the full address. You really just need to put in the numbers if you want to do this quickly. You want to just have the active button searched, and we want to do detached, which, so anyways, there it is. So just go ahead and hit that button down below. I went really fast there. Hit search, and there it is. There's the property that we're after. So we want to go ahead and just click on that. And here's the next thing is what you want to do is take a look at this property and just see if it's a property that we want to mess with. So on this one, it is a piece of crap, no doubt about that. Maybe we want to mess with it. So a couple things. So I'm going to go to the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to map. I'm going to find this on the map. It's up here. The other one was down here. So we're going to zero in on this property. So now you want to start, this is where we're going to, it's kind of subjective. You want to draw a boundary around this property. And generally speaking, you want to be, you know, I don't know what they call it, but each one of these blocks is really a neighborhood. Like this is Barnum, this block here is Westward, this block over here, whatever, South Alameda is this block here. Athmar Park is right here. So you can kind of see these blocks in the city. And that's kind of what we use. That's what we want to kind of draw around when we're looking at these properties. But this, and you're going to get better about this. I know West Barnum and Westward are fairly similar neighborhoods. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a box kind of right here. And you can expand it. You can move this out. You can grab I think you can grab this thing and make it littler. But I just click that one and go around it. You're also going to use this box here, so I'll just use it real quick, which gives you the ability to draw lines instead of just one box. So if you wanted to do something funky, which you are going to run into neighborhoods that you're going to want to do stuff like this, you can do that too. So, but on this one, I'm just going to draw a box around it. And what I'm doing is that I'm telling the MLS I only want to look at properties in this little area. And so now I'm going to go back to the criteria, and I'm going to select under contract and sold. The next thing I'm going to do off this spreadsheet, wherever, there it is, oh, the square footage is terrible. This is not a great example. I'm going to get rid of this one. The square footage is really low. There's something that's not cool about this property, so let's just get rid of it. So I'm going to move on to the next one. This one looks like a normal property. So again, we're going to go to residential, general. I'm going to put in the street number, which on this one is 9941. I'm going to put in a street number, 9941. It's going to come down to 1, so that's the property. If you want to make sure it's a detached property, which is what we focus on. We don't focus on too much attached. Not yet, but we will get there. Search. There's the property. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to open it up. Here we go. Yes, this is a great property. Look how trash it is. And what, 220, it's in Aurora. Okay, perfect. This is one that we want to go after. So again, we want to go to map. Let's go ahead and zoom out. We kind of want to select that neighborhood that's in. I know Aurora North very well because that's where all of our rentals were at years ago. I'm going to select that right there. Just kind of draw a big box around it if you want to expand it a little bit. You can't go too far on past Quebec because the neighborhood starts to change, and you're going to see that here in a little bit how that works. So now we got the area selected. We detach. We're going to select under contract sold. We're going to put in the total square footage. We're going to put a range. So this total square footage of this house is 1476, right? So we want a range plus or minus somewhere around 200. So we're going to put in a range of, let's say, 1250, or you can do 1200 to 1650. It doesn't have to be exact, but you kind of want a range. What you're doing, you're telling the MLS you want a range of, what did I say, 1650. I only want to look at properties that have a total square footage of this. I don't care about bedrooms, baths, none of the crap, because you can add that. If you got the square footage, you can add that. And you're going to run across investors all the time that will say that you don't know what you're doing because you don't look at the total or the bedrooms and bathrooms. And in fact, they don't know what they're doing, because if you've done enough fix and flips, you're going to know if you have the square footage, then bedrooms and bathrooms can be moved and changed, and you can change the layout of the house to create the bedrooms and bathrooms that you want for your comps. And we're going to get into that in a minute. So now we got active, under contract, sold, detached. Let's get rid of this address because it still shows there's only one property in there that matches all this criteria, right? That's because we still got the street address in. Once we get rid of that street address, it's going to match all those properties in that square footage range. We're going to go ahead and we're going to select that. Then we're going to hit search. Now it's only going to pull up one. Oops. Right away pulled up a townhouse because, well, that's weird. So, well, they must have put in the data wrong. So it only has one. Go over here, go down to 100. You want to display all those. All right. Now that's quite a bit of data actually to work with. So we can go back to our map and narrow this down a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to results and I'm going to select the property that we're 9941 right here. So on the map, it's right here, right? So I'm going to kind of shorten this up a little bit because that's quite a bit of data that we don't. So now let's go back to our results and see if we got something a little cleaner. So that's a little more manageable to work with. So from here you can see real quick, over here is the solds under contracts, which means they're no longer active. They're under contract with somebody. We do look at those. We mostly look at the solds. We look a little bit under contracts, and I look just a tiny bit at actives. So this one's active at 222. I want to figure out what the ARV is of this house. Well, we can quickly pretty much see all these houses are within the same square footage range of this house. And so the first thing that I like to do is take a look at the properties around this particular property. So I'm going to zero in on this. So this property here, this one's under contract for 300. I want to see how nice this one is. Is it fixed up? Not really, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to the map. 285, that one's probably not fixed up, probably not fixed up, probably not. Let's zero out a little bit. Let's take a look at something. And you can look at a couple of these just to make sure that they're fixed up or not fixed up. Sometimes, yeah, there you go. You got to click on the actual box to get the number. And then open up the thing. This one's actually in pretty nice shape, 275. Actually, it's actually pretty nice. We might have to use this one. So let's go back to the map. 276. I'm surprised. Where are these high? Because single line. Where are these high 400s coming from? So right away, I'm trying to figure out where these really super expensive properties are at, and does it pertain to mine? So they seem to be over in a different area, right? So we automatically really don't want to use these properties because they're in kind of a different neighborhood, and I'm trying to wrap my head around this area. Why? Let me just take a look at one of these. Oh, yeah, so these are like new builds. So you can quickly see these are, I mean, this property is probably built in the last few years. Different neighborhood. Can't use those. So we already can see that these are not ARV comps that we can use. See, I'm trying to figure out the most fixed up value of this particular house. And where is the year built? 2004. So that's not what we're after. So let's go ahead and just get rid of those and kind of zero in on properties that we can look at. So now let's go back to results again. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. We still got some of these. Where are these 480s coming from? Let's take a look at these. So again, completely fixed up. This is a brand new house, built in 2008. So that doesn't really work. So I'm going to say I'm going to take a look at this 319. I think this 319 is a great comp. kind of. It is fixed up, not completely, but we're getting closer. So that 319, I want a completely fixed, completely rehab property. Let's take a look at this under contract. Pretty darn close. So we're starting to get an idea that our ARV is going to be kind of in this range. Where is this one at? No, that's not going to work. It's not a good comp. So when I say comp, it's got to be comparable. These are not comparable, right? So these don't work. These down here do work. So I'm going to, this 319 is pretty darn close. It's not complete. See, it's kind of dated with some of these cabinets, so it's not a great comp. So we might actually have to go out a little further. We're going to get rid of these guys because we know that's not in there. And I know this is kind of a crappy neighborhood here. So let's take a look at these and see what we get. 330. So that 330's got to be a complete rehab one. Yeah, look at the, okay, so automatically we can see, look at the new mulch, the grass, beautiful wood floors. This one has been recently done. You can pretty much tell by looking at the kitchen. Look at this is newer tile, stainless steel, nice cabinets. This is a great comp. It's sold at 330 at Havana. I'm going to use that one as our ARV or close to it. Okay, so you kind of see what we're after because this is what we're going to build our property out to be. Not if the MLS is going to work. And sometimes it's kind of tricky up there. So not this 319 that we looked at, because again, this is not completely fixed up. So I think that 330 is our ARV. Actually, I know it is. That's what we're going to use. So going back to our spreadsheet, this is when things get real simple. We're going to put in, for this property, 330. And it's automatically going to populate our purchase price. I'm going to move this over. So 234, what are they asking for this particular property? They're asking 222. So, and we're coming up with 232. So I would probably be willing to ask or offer more than list price on this one, depending on how long it's been on the market. So going over to, and this would be a good time to just show you how to hide things, because this is what I do a lot. Just highlight all this stuff and then just bring it on over. So just there, right click, hide. So it's only been on the market 7 days. I bet it's probably going to get multiple contracts. So we probably want to come in a little bit above asking price, but we're not going to go to the full 232. But, because they only want 222. Gosh, the asking price is right there. I don't need to pull it up on the thing. But 222 is what they're asking for it. So on that, maybe like 223,135. That's what I do. And you can just go ahead and enter it right in there. Even though there's a formula there, that's okay, because that's what we're going to use. That's what you want to plug it in. That's what's going to populate into our offer. So I'm going to load this video up, and I'm going to do a couple more, and then send you on your way with this.